First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that border consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the group based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the group based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.
You need to understand how magical this, something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so, I mean, these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of this ancient history school back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophies and theories, shit that works.
You have an activated pineal gland in which that produced this black chemical called melanin.
What we did was...
Peace, back once again with Dr. Alim Bey. First World Order Radio is in full effect, no doubt. I'm getting ready to bring on the co-host, my man, Grand Sheik, Fahim RL.
Peace, God.
Peace, how you doing tonight, Doc?
Very well, God. How you doing tonight?
Doing well, that's good.
All right, good, wonderful.
All right, we're going to get into basically indigenous redemption. And the reason why we're dealing with this subject, because it's a continuation of information in which that we've been laying out. And we want to go more into the term Moor and how it has its ancient roots in the letters MR, which is, the M is an owl, and the R is the mouth of Ra, called Ru. All right, it was found on the walls in ancient Kemet. As a matter of fact, there was a book written, Egyptian Hieroglyphics, by E.A. Wallace Budge, in which that he breaks that information down. A.E. Wallace Budge, he breaks that information down, in which that is dealing with the term Moor, M-A-U-R-S, and how they were the high priests. Right, this has been found on the still, that they are the high priests of the order of Anu, which is another name for Ra. All right, so the word Moor is tied back once again to Ra, and the symbol is an owl. This is why the symbol of an owl is on the back of the dollar, is on the front of the dollar bill in the upper left-hand corner, in the upper right-hand corner on the left-hand side of the dollar, of the one. You will see the owl there peeking out. And when you flip it over, directly behind that owl is the pyramid itself, in which that symbol is an eye. Now, just going to tell you that the word Moor or the letters MR, because remember there was no consonants in the Medu Neter. So when you're dealing with scholastic, when you're dealing with words, like for example, the word Kemet has come to mean black land or black people's land, but it's not the ancient word for Egypt. All right. Now, if you get E.A. Wallace Budge's book, The Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, is volume 1, if I'm not mistaken, around page 315. And if you look up the word Moor, I think it's in volume 2, around page 1050, somewhere around there. You'll find that the Moors, or the land of the Moors, which you get the word Tamorian or Tamarian, is the hidden and true nationality of the real ancient Egyptians. All right, they was also referred to as the Kamau, or Kamau, Kamau, all right, or Cam, So the word Kemet is the geographical name, where the praiseworthy black dirt settled. This is where we get the word Muhammad, which means one who is worthy of praise, and those who raise up or praise up out of into the out of and end of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? They come out of the darkness, and which means into the light, and which that symbolizes ignorance in that particular regard. So when you look at the word Moor, you'll find something real fascinating, because it is also tied to being that is Ra, and Ra is nothing more than another form of Asar. All right? This is why in the Old Testament you have Iya Ashar, Iya, which means within Hebrew, I am that which that I am.
Yeah.
All right? So in the Old Testament, Osir or Osar is the mysterious, unpronounced name of the Lord, which Moses was talking to, and it's not Jehovah or Yahweh. Once again, it's Iya Asher Iya, or I am Osar, which is I am actually Osiris. I am Osar, I am. All right, that's basically what that means. And you can see if you get the Torah by the Union of the American Hebrew Congregation, I think it's around page 400. They break that information down in Exodus 3:14. All right, and then when you look up Osiris from the Greek word, because we know that the original Greeks, according to J. Rogers, Sex and Regs, Volume 1, and the Missing Pages of History by Indokima Kush, as well as also what they never told you in history class, was all books in which that state that the Greeks, the original Greeks, were blacks or Moors. As a matter of fact, the name for us within the Greek language was called Moros, Mauros, Moros, which is taken from the word Moors, Maurs, from E.A. Wallace Budge's transliteration, which is his Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary, who were the high priests of Anu. So it's all one and the same. So here it is, hundreds and thousands of years before the Moors of Spain, the word was used already in the Greek culture, already used in the Egyptian or the ancient Egyptian culture known as the Tamarians or the Tamarans, or or Kamau, So we know, based on that information, when you look up Osiris in Greek, Oz, which means plus or Irish, and when translated properly means bones and mouth. This is what Brother Taj is talking about when he said that the word Muslim means bones, flesh, muscle, tissue. This is what he's really talking about. He's talking about Osiris or Osar, because there's also the messenger's eye, and in that form, the messenger of God, who actually became the word that spoke the foundation of the world into existence. That's what Osiris or Oz Iris actually symbolizes. It's Oz, in which that also means bones, you know what I'm saying, and mouth, which is Oz, and Iris, which symbolizes the messenger's eye or eye. So we're talking about the bones, mouth, eye. We're talking about the word made flesh. That's what it's really speaking of. And you can get this information from the Shorter Oxford English Dictionary by William Little. All right. Now, it's no coincidence that Osiris, which is Osir or Osar or Osaru, is also called Bay. All right. They spelled the B-A-I, Bay, which is the same as B-E-Y as we pronounce it. And it means noble or priest. You know what I'm saying? And it's a form of Osar or Ra. So when the Moorish Empire, the Mexican Empire, the Washita Empire ruled the world, all the bailiffs, all right, which is spelled B-A-I, were actually bailiffs, B-E-Y. All right, so B-A-I-L-I-F-F-S was actually spelled B-E-Y-L-I-F-F-S. The term bay became bay as in I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, and by was spelled B-A-I. All right, and you can get this information from the ancient history of the distinguished surname Bay by the Historical Research Society of Orlando, Florida. Now, they say that these bays, check this out now, pioneered, right? They was the pioneers, became the nucleus of the first settlement from Spain to the Colombian or to the Cumberland Gap, all right, which is down beyond Kentucky, Arkansas area. And it says that they provided much of the stock that produced the early presidents and governors of the United States. In Canada, they settled Nova Scotia, the St. Lawrence and Ottawa Valley. It says the family name Bay provided many predominant contemporaries such as Colonel Bay, who created the Rideau Channel and founded Ottawa. It says Bay in Old English or Moorish English or Yiddish or Yingish originally meant governor or prince, all right, or bag or big, which means great, right? So when we look at the word Bay, we understand that that's one of the 5 names connected to the 5 civilized tribes. So you have Bay, Day, Al, Il, Ali. Right? Il is also pronounced L. All right? And those names correlates to the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, which is the Washita, the Seminole, which is the Yamasee, the Cherokee, and the Creek, which is Muskogee.
All right.
Those was known as the 5 civilized tribes. All right. Now, the word Moor is the actual word found in the petroglyph on Mount Moriah. All right. For the scholarly word Hebrew, the original Moors refer to themselves as Moru, M-A-R-U, Now, that's no coincidence because when we looked up the word in the dictionary of American, all right? Now, remember, go back to your information. We spoke about this before. When you look up the word American, it says the Aboriginal, color, copper, natives. Here, basically, talking about here in the Americas. They was founded here. They was already here before the settlement of their territories by the Europeans. I say invasions. And this is based on the 1937 Webster Universal Dictionary. Look it up. It says the original application of the word American is the word Maru. Now, that's no coincidence. So, the people who was the Aboriginal copper-colored natives were known as the Marus. M-E-R-U. All right, now remember, there was no vowels. So M-E-R-U is actually M-A-R-U or M-O-O-R-I. All right? Or the term Moor also means mountain or mound or pyramid. All right? That's what it's connected to. All right? Now, when we're looking at the word America, it's the origin of the moderate term America, and the word is Amaruka. Amaruka. M-A-M-A-R-U-K-A.
Yeah.
Right, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the made-up personage historically called Americo Vespucci, who was named, was supposed to be Alberto, who actually was named Alberto Vespucci based on what they told us in history class. Nor did Cristobal Colon, who was Christopher Columbus, discovered America, or actually exists. All right, this is their reconstructed history coming into effect. The term America or Amaruka is far older than the 15th century. So it's older than 400 years ago. We've been called Moors or Marus. All right? This is not nothing new. Now, in the Time magazine, they produce a copy of the oldest known map of North America. And the article states that this ancient Libyan Arabic script was discovered, all right, during the 1st century BC. And in the center of the continent, it was in Nevada. And guess what? The word is M-U, Moor. All right? And they said that this is possibly the origin of the word America. Now, this was in Time magazine. All right, ISBN 0-8129-0847-3. Look it up. Now, Barry Ford, who was a professor at Harvard University and author of the saga America, which is a Time book, states that America probably had nothing to do with Americo Vespucci. Also, if you see ISIS Unveiled, for more information, even Madame Blavatsky breaks that down.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Dr. Fall indicates several pre-Columbian cultures in the Americas, in particular the West, finding rich evidence of an early Arabic presence. Now, remember, I told you all the last time that our language was Arabic and Hebrew, which are 10 tongues. They are different dialects of the same language, which is the mother language, which is actually Metuneta. Right? We spoke Chaldean, we spoke Arabic, we spoke Hebrew right here. This is why you'll see many of the Native American tribes you know, especially the Algonquins, when you go and do your research on linguistics or etymology and phonetics and how it ties back to these particular so-called Eastern languages. But here, these Eastern languages were spoken here in the West. How is that possible? All right. Matter of fact, Barry Fell further suggests that Pueblo, which is the Indian culture and North African culture, he says that they are nearly identical. He infers that a major Carthaginian, which is the Canaanites or the Phoenician Moors, traded with North and South America. Now we know that the Phoenicians, as well as also the Egyptians, they had ships, and these ships, you know, have been found. In particular, you will see the ships if you go to the British Museum, particularly from Egypt. They found several ships in which that has been verified that they could sail across, especially if they catch that current coming from West Africa. All right? They could have came right across the Atlantic currents. Right? So, also in an article entitled Secret Societies in the Ancient Americas, it states, ancient Masonic lodges has been discovered amongst the American Indians who actually are the Native Americans, who is i.e. the Moors, which he called an ancient Indian Masonic lodge at an Anazi Indian archaeological site, 80% identical to the Masonic lodges in America now. So that means that Masonry was already practiced here, because remember the word Freemason coming from man, of God, civilization, written by John G. Jackson. He states in there that the name, all right, pay attention now, that the name Freemason is derived from the Metonetic name Freemason, which is spelled P-H-R-E-E, as in the word free, and then M-E-S-S-E-N, Mason, which is the same as Mason, M-A-S-O-N. And he said that this is the original word. And it means a child of the light. Now, when you look up the word Mesrim, which is spelled M-E-S-R-E-M, you would know that the word Misram was also the word Misram, which is the name in which they gave to the ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians in the Bible in Hebrew is called Misram. That was the name of Egypt from the Hebrew, was Misram. The word Misram or Misram means a child of light or the child of Ra. So the word Freemason and the word Mesrim have the same meaning. This is why you find these connections in these various schools. But they won't tell you this because they'll try to keep this separate in order to keep your mind fragmented so that you won't realize the connection pieces.
Right.
All right? Now, remember, Barry Ford said 80% in the ancient lodges, there was 50 rocks and clay tablets, which he dated back to 1000 and 1200 AD, written in what appears to be Arabic. Even the name America may be produced of ancient American secret society. Now remember, this secret society, they claim, came from Francis Bacon, who was i.e. known as William Shakespeare, right, in which that he wrote the book, The New Atlantis, in which that he tells within his book that of the escapades or the future escapades of them traveling across from out of England or out of Europe into the Americas and setting up camp here. Now go and read the book New Atlantis. Now, who was William Shakespeare? Francis Bacon. He was the founder of the Shakespearean Council. So it was not just him. It was people from Cambridge, from Oxford, from different high levels of society. All right, in which that he was the head Rosicrucian. All right, and the Rosicrucian was tied to the Masons because King James was allegedly the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of England. During the 1500s, in which that he appointed William Shakespeare / Francis Bacon to be the editor of the King James Version of the Bible. Now, even the name America, like we said, may be the product or the produce of Ancient American Secret Society. In a 1895 edition of a magazine called Lucifer, it was the name of a magazine published by the occult promoting the Theosophical Society. Now, the word America, this is what it said in the article. Now, check this out. This comes from Alim Blavatsky. Said that the supreme god of the Mayan culture of Central America, known as Quetzalcoatl, elsewhere was known in Peru as Amaru, and the Amaru's territory was known as Amaru Ka. Now, I'm breaking all this down because we're dealing with indigenous redemption tonight. And this is information that you need to know in order to understand how to redeem yourself. All right? Now, it says, origins say authorities believe that the Indians to be of Hebrew origin. They based this belief on the fact that the Indians was a very religious people. Also saying that the Indian tribes had Old Testament legends. Now, of course, we understand this because you go to the book called the Mormons Bible, all right, or the what is it, Saints of Latter-day Latter-day Saints, right? In their book of the Mormons Bible, the Mormons book, they state the same thing. That the said Indian tribes had Old Testament legends. Matter of fact, they worshiped the one great spirit, all right, and never idols. The name of the deity, guess what, was Allah. A-L-A. The Hebrew name for God. Now, we know another name is Ilah, which is A-L-A-H, or translated as Elo, which is E-L-O-H. And when the many gods come together, form the Elohims, which are the 7 chakras, in which they have formed your physical body into existence, which is called the creative spirits or the 7 souls of Ra, in which that was referred to as Elohim, E-L-O-H-I-M, which means plural. I am is plural. But singular, the name is Ilah, A-L-A-H, which is the word Allah. Now, this is the same name that that many of the cultures of the Algonquin still refer to, and some of the Iroquois still refer to their God as Allah. All right. Now, their form of government was was also similar. There were similarities of language. So we have to take into account. Right, and once again, it is also important that Egypt, Atlantis, America's predominant population was always depicted as copper, coffee complected, and not really red, as the modern Indians or Native Americans is commonly depicted. But we was called the Aboriginal color copper natives. Remember the definition now from Webster Universal Dictionary. Now, at this time, the term Indian should be looked at closely because the term Indian is a latter Latin word coming from Hindi, or Sendu, meaning dark-hued, or transferring from the older Latin word Ethiopian. And the term Ethiopian is not of African origin. It was transferred back to the Greek word Opthipian, all right, or Opthiopian, meaning dark-hued, all right, or burnt, all right, sunburnt. That's what they refer to it as. Now, if you think that we bullshit with the information, go to Jack D. Forbes' book. It's entitled Africans and Native Americans. You go to page 69. He states that in 1524, the people of the Carolina coast were said to be of dark color, not much unlike the Ethiopians. All right, now you go to the Charlotte Observer, dated Sunday, August the 15th, 1993. It states that North Carolina in 1690 reported the presence of Moors, and that they are the ancestors of a people erroneously called Melungeons. Now this goes for the people that they call the Nanacoats. This goes for the people that they call the Lenape. This goes with the people that they refer to as the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Creek, which is Muskogee, the Seminole, which is the Yamasee. All of them was erroneously, that's what we was erroneously called by these so-called names in order to separate us into family, clans, and tribes, because they destabilized the empire. Because we was at one time together. Now, you don't believe that shit? Go and look up the Camp Holmes Treaty, or the Treaty of Camp Holmes, in which that they refer to us as the Wichita Nations. That's with an S, if you can't get that. Now, if you go to Forbes, Jack D. Forbes' book again, he says, when Africans are referred to in the Jesuit letters, they are always called Negro de Guinea, which means blacks of Guinea, to distinguish them from Negro de Terra, which is the blacks of the land of America. Now this is what he says. Matter of fact, he goes further, that on page, I think that was on page 64. Then on page 67, 71, he states that the French Noir, which is black, and the Negri, black or dark person. It says the French Moor or Maori, Moor, equivalent. Right, he said it was equivalent.
North,
right?
North,
it was equivalent.
North equivalent, okay.
Right, he said were equivalent to Negroes from Guinea. So they refer to the French Maori or Moors, all right, as equivalent to Negroes from Guinea. He says, thus Negroes is used for Indian and not for someone from America. In any case, it is clear that many Iberians and Italians, whether Europe or America, was comfortable using Negro, Negri, etc. for America. For Americans, that's what it said. So they refer. So the people in Europe and America, from Iberia and the Italians, whether in Europe or in the Americas, refer to the so-called natives, all right, as Negroes or Negri. It's just the copper, coffee complected Negro de Terra are classified in Black's Law Dictionary as Femi Couleur Lepri, which means free color nation of people. So they recognize this in the Black's Law Dictionary as being a nation. All right? Which, as a matter of fact, that name was used up to the time of the Civil War. And this term applied to all persons not of the white race, including Indians. Again, the word Indian originally did not mean Native American or American the way that it is used today. However, it did mean Ethiopian, Negro de Terra, which is the natives of America, and Moors. You can look this up and see ND in Cassell's New Latin Dictionary, right, by D.P. Simpson. All right, I think that's on like page 299. So that's where you get these connections from. And then we know that even Columbus used the word Indos, in which that the Spanish in which that he spoke, allegedly, because we don't know even if he existed or not.
Right.
But it is said that he used the term Indos, because remember, they don't reconstructed history. And they tie themselves into history and then destabilizing the empire at the same time, for they can have a seat to raise up from. And then as they raise up, we'll, come down, fall, and come to our demise. That was the whole plan, to never allow the Moors to rise again. That is said within the Masonic Shriner, white, the so-called Pale, Albion, Albino, white, whatever you want to refer to them as, in their Masonic Shrine Dome. All right, this is what they state. All right. So, if you go to another book, you can go to in which that speaks about the Native Americans. They say that the Native Americans are wards of the government. This is the second American group, and differ greatly from the Aboriginal Americans, which is the first Americans. The term American is so vague and has totally replaced the phrase citizen of the United States, and this is no accident. Okay, and we know that because a citizen of the United States, especially when it's United States citizen, which is a small c, shows that you are subject. All right, shows that you are subject. Now, American as used in a device, which is a contract to be used by trustees, guardians, or wardens for the benefit of worthy, deserving, or so-called white Americans. Protestants, that means all descendants of Europe born in America, especially the inhabitants, not citizens of the United States. So, what we say that is that the term Native American refers to the second group. All right, and then we have the first group is esoterically the Moors or Moorish Negri Indians, known as the Aboriginal Americans, and then the third group is the term Indigenous Americans. Now, based on the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, we have the right to a nationality. All right, and because of that, there's certain things in which that is taking place to put us in a position of being denationalized. Allegedly, that came by way of 1774. And if you read Prophet Noble Drew Ali's Moorish literature, he makes mention of the fact that the names, our nationality, birthright, etc., was taken away in 1774. And he also made mention of a constitution during the 1774. Of course, we know that constitution was the Articles of Association that was written in 1774. There was 3 other constitutions to be written after that, all building upon that first constitution. You had the second one, which is the Articles of Confederation, the third one, which was written in 1781, and you had the Declaration of Independence, written in 1776, and then you have the Constitution for the United States of America, written 1789 through 1791. All right, so you understand that's what was taking place. All right, so the name of the patron saint in which that put this together was Saint Tanami. Now, Tanami, remember, his birthday was celebrated May 1st. All right. Now, that is the time that they tell you that this person by the name of Adam Weissef supposedly put together the Illuminati, 1776. But we find out that that was actually Saint Tanami's birthday, which means, you know what I'm saying, which was actually the Epiphany Moors. And he was a Lenape Delaware chief, all right, or what is known as the part of the Delaware Moors. All right, the word Tanami is rooted in the word Tami, you know, which is the ancient Moorish group, and Tami originally meant those who brought civilization, or the civilization breakers. Tanami also means friendly and easy to approach. Now, this is the reason why William Penn went to Tammany in order to ask him permission in order to form what now becomes the so-called 13 colonies. All right, later on known as the 13 states / now the 50 states of the Union. But that was based on a lease in which that was brought together by the United States and Morocco peace treaty, or the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, all right, in which that was written around 1787. Now, if you notice, that was 2 to 4 years before the Constitution and its ratification, or what is called the Constitution for the United States of America. It was before President George Washington. Remember, he did not become president until 1789. We're talking about 1787. As a matter of fact, when he was a general, he was thanking, all right, he was thanking the Moroccan emperor. All right? Yeah. He was thanking the Moroccan emperor. You know, do you want to build on anything concerning that, brother? Brother Fahim?
Yes, yes, he was thanking the emperor of Morocco at the same time. As he was became the first president of the Constitution, and at the thing about at that period, it was the last constitutional convention was ever held at that time as well, and thus during the 10th Amendment. And after that, there was no more constitutional conventions to be held. And what most people don't understand is the Congress, like the House of the Senate and the House of Representatives, which make up the Congress, can vote on an amendment. But if a constitutional convention is not being held, it's no good. It's no good, you know. And a lot of the people talk about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Even the 16th Amendment, as far as taxes is concerned, are all fraudulent. Even the 19th Amendment for women, supposedly gave women the right to vote, is also null and void. And I mean, they would be really shocked if they really woke up and really found out what's really happening with those amendments, or so-called amendments.
Exactly. So, let's get back to William Penn, where we find the name Pennsylvania named. That's what was named after. The state was named after him. If you go to Ancient and Moderate Britons by David Marici, he states that refers to the Aboriginals as black as the Gypsies. Okay? Blacks as the Gypsies. Now, who are the Gypsies? The Gypsies are supposedly a band of people who left from out of Egypt. Okay? Now, William Penn was also referring to another tribe called the Ben Ishmaelite, or the Ben Ishmael, all right, who was known as a Moorish nation on the eastern seaboard before their displacement. Now, that is connected to the Lenape, which are the Delaware Moors. Now, who also comes from out of that bloodline is a prince by the name of Ben Emmanuel Ali, who was also a judge, a master astrologer. His code name is Prince Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in Africa and the discovery of America, they speak about the fact that under the mandate of the Bey of the Moors or Moroccan Empire of our forefathers, it says that the Europeans, the English, the French, the Dutch, the Danes, the Swedes, all had to pay tribute to the empire. Now, this is also within United States and Barbary Powers, written by David McRitchie. All right? And he states that that there was a letter written by George Washington, I think it was 12/1/1789, to the Emperor of Morocco. All right? Because he actually was the 9th president. George Washington was the 9th president. He was not the first president. And actually, he was the 17th president. If you go back to the Articles of Confederation and then come up to the Articles of Association. All right, and then you add in the Declaration of Independence. If you go back to 1774, you will see that somebody had to be the president of the Continental Congress.
Mm-hmm.
All right, as all of this was coming together. Now, George Washington apologized for not sending the emperor the regular tribute. Now, that's what the Barbary Powers was about. The United States and the Barbary Powers. The Barbary talking about the Berbers, which is the word Moors, Ethiopians, Abyssinian, the Cushites. Now, if you go and study the Bouvain's collection, over 200 letters from the Continental Congress was corresponding with the Bey of Morocco. By the signing of the Moroccan, of the United States, of the Moroccan and United States Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787, that was signed by John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, with Tahar bin Abdelkek Bey, all right, who was the Emperor of Morocco, the Imperial Majesty. And that was on the date of 3/6/1789. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, another thing we need to look at is the Treaty of Tripoli. The Treaty of Tripoli was signed in 1805 by Colonel Tobias Lear as the Consul General of the United States of America with Regency. And that was signed by Yusuf Karamanli and Bashar and Muhammad Karamanli Bey. Once again, Bey. Now, anybody goes and do the study, you will find that it is said that based on the Treaty of Tripoli, it says specifically that the United States was never nor ever founded upon Christianity, because these are Islamic principles. This is Islam on which that this is dealing with. If you want to call it a religion, remember Islamism. Prophet Noble already told you that it was the everlasting gospel. That's what they was dealing with, which is the ancient mystery school system. This is why they had the Masons in these parties, these orders, in these Rosicrucians. That's why they was in higher positions. Because they're supposed to be studying and following the principles of Masonry. Brother L, can you break down some of the principles of Masonry and how a brother is opposed to act as compared to how they are acting?
Yes. It says it's supposed to make men better. It's supposed to teach you how to subdue your passions, meaning your lower nature, your lower self. And so you can improve yourself in Masonry and improve yourself in life as well as Masonry. That's what it's supposed to do. But if you observe them, I hate to say a lot of, most of, I would say maybe 75 or 80% of our Prince-Hall Masonic brothers, they deal in a lot of lewdness and drunkenness and, what you would say, skirt chasing, just to put it mildly, things of that nature, you know. If you ask them why certain stations are being in place of the lodge, why dealing with astrology or dealing with cosmology, malogic science, why the worship master is sitting in the east and why the senior is sitting in the west and the junior is sitting in the south, why is it situated that way? They couldn't tell you.
Right. Because they don't know nothing about the four gates.
No.
Right, because they don't know. Right, because they don't know astrology, cosmology.
No.
Even though all the hints are there within their lessons, very few of them study it.
Yes, very few of them study it. They study how to say them verbatim, word for word. You know, they're pretty good at that. You know, but dealing with the cosmological nature of it. They lost. It's over their heads. And that really is the true significance of learning what Masonry is really all about. You know, and they skip over the science of it and just deal with rituals. You know, just rituals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Right. But right there in Masonry, they also tell you that Masonry is veiled in symbolism and allegory.
Yes.
But yet they act like they don't know what symbols and allegory mean.
No. You know, allegory or symbols. No. They like I said before, they deal with how well you can do the rituals verbatim, how well you say them verbatim, and you know that they held you high esteem among the order if you can do that very well. You know, as far as just breaking it down in its esoteric meaning, they're not interested in that.
Right.
Only if you can say them verbatim. That's all they're interested in. You know. In our school instruction here, you only allowed to, let's say, go so far dealing with esoteric Masonry, which is the real Masonry that they should be teaching and learning and studying. But you only go to teach maybe a teaspoonful of it.
And that's sad. That's the reason why they don't know the history in order to put this information together like what we're trying to do here tonight.
Right.
Because this is about indigenous redemption, so we have to give you the information, the proper information, so you can actually go forth and save yourself, uplift fallen humanity. That's what this is really all about. So when we look at the European citizen of the so-called United Colonies of America, they found themselves very comfortable and at ease in St. Tammany's presence while attempting to negotiate an agreement that would allow them to become an annexed part of the Aboriginal, Indigenous, Native, Moorish governments, all right, which is in the family of nations, that was, and I believe, is the head of the law, which was actually the remnants of the Ultima Empire, who was Osmalian or Osmanli, all right, or Osmanli Bey's Empire. All right, he's one of the latter rulers of the empire, which actually is the Ultima Empire. All right, all this connected because you go to the Dictionary of the American Indian by John Schutenberg Jr. He has that information in there. So what is this Osmali Bey's Empire or the Ultima Empire? That is the Olmec Empire. That is the Olmec civilization of Central America. This is the reason why they've been trying to hide it, because they didn't want us to put these pieces of this puzzle together. Who are the Olmecs? They are the Amexums, which are the rulers of the last empire or the last Western Empire. The Olmexan, all right, or the Olmecan civilization of Central America is considered by most scholars to be the oldest and high culture in America. The word Mexico came from the word Olmec and code, check this out, and the coded Moorish word Amexum. This word is a verb, which means place of the mixing and not a name. Most scholars deduce that the word from Ali, which means rubber people, however, it would be better translated Oli, which is Ali, which is Hebrew, which means exalted ones, and the people who bounce back. All right?
Wow.
Now that is the, so that's why the Olmecs, you know what I'm saying, or Oli, you get the word Ali, which means the exalted ones or the most high. All right? All right. Now, the term Olmec was mesoterically understood means Almac, son of or belonging to Allah, or Elamak, which means come from Mecca, or Meccans. So one of the oldest meanings of Mecca, which is Baka, which means Ba and Ka, spirit. Ba means soul, Ka means spirit, which is what? The Kaaba area there within Mecca, which means the Moors, once again. And it says the original Meccans, which are old Meccans, were the family of Imran. And in the Quran by A. Yusuf Ali, it speaks about them in the, chapter 3. And it says Allah did choose Adam, Noah, the family of Abraham, and the family of Imran above all people. Now, when you look up the word Imran, you'll find that that name is connected to Amen-Ra. And you will find also Atan, and the component or the individual who put forth, who moved Amen-Ra, and it actually wasn't the moving, it was them understanding that Amen-Ra symbolizes our sun here, but there was a sun greater and larger than our sun, which was in the central or in the center of our galaxy called Alcyon, but during that time they called it Atan. All right, Atan, which became the word Hebrew Adonai, or the Greek Adonis. All right, so Idram goes in, and this is what it means. It says, who was and is Imram, the last of the chosen family of God? It says Imram is the word of art term that can be fully comprehended when one applies the ancient Moorish Arabic roots. It says in the Concordance of the Quran by Hannah E. Kessie, it says Imran became the word Moor. The Ain is silent, and the letter N is the terminal plural that becomes the moderate S. Therefore, Ain silent and MRN becomes MRS. Moors. Now remember, that symbolizes land. Remember, when you look up land,
right,
it says marshes, first, water, moors. Any is a general term for any land, but also means waters. Now, also the letter N is also from noon, meaning water, sea, ocean, adding to the meaning of the word Enram. So Moors becomes more men, which means navigators or governors. Remember, the first governors and presidents of the United States were Moors with the titles of they. All right. Now, in the book Africa and the Discovery of America, says the black god of ancient America stated the following, that the first Americans were black. And this is by the scholarly Latin author C.C. McQuees. And he explains, he said, the strong possibility that black people were the first people in the Americas, out of which later came the red Indian race, as they refer to them as, the second people. And it says the Native Americans also refer to the Lenape and the Anunnaki as the old ones. All right. It is likely that we repeat the longer useful history was also a Negro, that America was also a Negro continent, and that the Alim, which is Ultimas, which is the Ultima Empire of Mexico, are the remains of the Aboriginal Negro race, out of which later developed what is known as the Red or Indian race. So the so-called Indian race, as they refer to the so-called lighter Indians nowadays, came from black, came from us, but they was the latter. They came later on. They was not the original. And they know this. You go and study many of the Native American culture, many of the tribes understand this clearly and know that this is true.
Wow.
Okay. So,
do they really speak of it much?
The Hopis have.
Okay.
You know, the Comanche, the Seneca, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Creek, which is the Muskogee. You know, those tribes have spoken, and if you go to any of those particular, matter of fact, you can go to the Hawana, the Sapana. If you go to the Sapana powwow, you would see that these are so-called Native American tribes or Indian tribes, but they look like us. All right? Except they have a culture, but they don't have a nationality. There's a difference. They have a culture, you know, but they don't have a nationality. Culture is part of nationality, but nationality is not necessarily part of culture. Right? Nicholas Leon proves that the ancient African presence was in America. In fact, he states that black people was the original people, the first people of Mexico. And the memory of them in the most ancient traditions induce us to believe that the Negroes were the first inhabitants of Mexico. Now, this is in his book, Historia General de Mexico, which was written in 1909. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the realness of this.
Right.
You know? Now, if you go and do some research, it says, speaking about the laws, because the term Muslim, like you said, refers to Moors and not so-called, you know, and not the so-called Arabs, you know, so-called Muslims, in which that, you know, now do what they do, you know, set up corner stores, and you know what they do? They sell you poison, alcohol, liquor, etc., and cigarettes and pig feet.
Exactly.
And you know, right.
In the name of the FRN.
Exactly. In the name of fiat. You know. Now, it says the family of nations up until 1914 was headed by the Osmanli Bay Empire, aka the Ottoman Empire, that extended to the American continent, ruled by the Aboriginal and sovereign people called the Lenape or Lenape, that is, meaning we the people, who established the United States of Monaco, also pronounced Morocco. All right, so the Moroccan Empire in the family of nations consisted of 3 league governments, erroneously called the Iroquois, the Algonquin, and the Sioux, and the 17 independent republic states, with thousands of countries, towns, and even village cities. So this means that these, this is why they say Delaware was the first state. But guess what? Delaware didn't become the first state until the late 1700s, after the election of George Washington.
Wow.
Right? So the question is, these so-called territories was republic. These was independent republic territories, not necessarily states. But they had thousands of counties and towns and even village cities. And the phrase family of nations is codified, and in the Black's Law Dictionary 7th edition is defined as a word of art form constructed to confuse and misguide the average unlearned reader. Now, the phrase family of nations is also mentioned in the Black's Law Dictionary 4th through the 6th edition, which with the definition that the United States, it said, check this out. Now it says, this term has several meanings. It may be merely, completely or wholly, the name of a sovereign occupying the position, all right, analogous of that of other sovereigns in the family of nations. So we know that the United States itself is a corporation. And remember, we said in the last radio talk that we was talking about on Brother L, that we got into how there was a de facto government and how they took it from the de jure. Well, we tell you who the de jure government actually is.
Yeah.
All right. The de jure government is the Ottoman / Kushite / Songhai Malian / Olmecian Amexum Morocco Moor government.
Yeah, I have a shirt made with one says de jure with the Moorish flag and the great seal of the Moor nation, and the other side non de jure with the American flag and the phoenix bird, or what they call the eagle, for non de jure. Most people don't know what that means.
No, they don't know that.
And no, and the funniest thing about it, when I went there to get it made, Albion man made the shirt. And he was just smiling, he really didn't know what he was really doing. That was the funniest part about it. So I looked for some Asiatic places to make them, but they were all closed or sold. It was an Asiatic establishment, but they sold it out to the European establishment.
Well, okay.
So, okay. And that's why I wound up there getting it made. They told me to come back again. I said, okay, I will.
I'm gonna have to see that shirt, Brother L. I'm gonna have to get me one.
Yeah. This is something I thought of, myself.
Right. So please take a picture of it, so I can see what you're working with, bro.
Okay, I definitely will.
All right. So we know that the American government, under the authority of 1782, which is the present seal of the so-called American government, laid down by the Congressional or the Continental Congress, right, which is the American Congress, which was assembled, or what became known as the Congress of the United States, not to be confused with the unconstitutional Republican Democratic Party Committee United States Congress, aka the Senate and the House Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. We know that they are, once again, the de facto, not the de jure government, which is us. That's why our seal is on that dollar bill. So it became the original sovereign United States of America at that time. So between 1782 and 1787, the preamble citizens and the citizens, in compliance with the Family of Nations, ordained and established in accordance with the law of nations the Constitution for the United States of America. For that time until now, the preamble and the constitutional America has been and is complete and perfect member of the Family of Nations. That's what we taught ourselves into. Now, it says at the end of World War I, in 1914, the Family of Nations was dropped from public sight. However, it still exists, and actually by law and truth is in full effect. The so-called Western nations under the control of the masterful Maluk administration from 1914 to 1948 has implemented the control of the public in this modern day world. Now, the Mameluk, now look up the word Mameluk, M-A-M-L-U-K-S, the administrative federal government of and the United States of America under the authority of 1934 through 35, the Great Seal of the so-called America, which is the American Great Seal, has esoterically and awfully constructed a mirror United States of an image of our government, American government. This duplicate United States government was publicly completed with the creation of the United Nations. In other words, we had the League of Nations, and that was changed to the United Nations. So keep in mind that the first inhabitants of America, or what is called of the United States of America, was in existence prior to 1782, pursuant to the law of nations, and that the administrative federal Great Seal of the United States government between 1934 through 38 created the United Nations in 1947-48. Now, that means that there's two United States in North America, all right? And I call it the American government, and the other one is the United States government, which, once again, American government is de jure, the true government, while the United States government is the de facto. All right? There must be citizens belonging to two or both governments. That is to say, two different types of citizens. The one with the lowercase c is the citizen of the United States, de facto government. The capital C, all right, are members of the American government, or the preamble, we the people, all right? Now, we know that the 14th Amendment is the subject to another jurisdiction, all right? The constitutional citizens of the United States of America and the administrative United States, respectively. Now, originally, the preamble citizens of the American government, you know what I'm saying? And remember, we said the phrase, we the people, translated to Lenni Lenape, all right? Which means the word Lenape means actually was the name in which we get the word nappy head from, or sparrow-headed people. In other words, this is why you have a sister, that look like Wesley Snipes. Pardon me, but she do.
Okay.
Cheryl Underwood, look like a female Wesley Snipes, can get on national TV and say the dumb shit that she has said, that who want nappy hair?
She look like Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. Female Wesley Snipes.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Now, for those, we have the spiral or spiral head, or hair, which is nappy. But the word spiritual comes from the word sparrow or sparrow. So the word Lenape also comes from the old men or the original men, the grandfathers. All right, that's what it means. It refers to the Lenapes also as the old ones, which is the return of the ancient ones. Right, the Ananazi or the Washita, the Choctaw.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem is that even though they are our brethren, they too have a lot to account for because of their speaking with a forked tongue concerning the true accounts of what occurred in ancient North America.
Yeah.
All right. So around 15,000 to 13,000 years ago, the Moorish Hazaнаzi Folsom people established the mound building civilization, aka the Mississippian culture. Now we know that Prophet Noble Ali said that before the Europeans came, the Moors lived all up and down the Mississippi. That is within the oral traditions and statements of Prophet Noble Ali. All right, the Lenape Indian Moors, as they referred to as, because they was referred to as Indians, but it actually was Moors, and the Indo-European Moors, all right, having fought against the British, so-called Moors in the Revolutionary War and the War of Independence, all right, both called the American Revolution, and having won with the assistance of great and they won with the assistance of the Caucasian, the so-called Europeans, decided in accordance with the Lenape Monaco Constitution of the civilized nations, aka the Great Law of Peace, that no slavery shall exist in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
It says therefore today a preamble citizen of the United States is an individual who declares, proclaims, records, and implements their constitutional rights and privileges, and pledges their allegiance to the original national flag of the American government in the family of nations. All right? It says a preamble citizen has constitutional guaranteed rights and privileges and immunities in accordance with the domestic common law of the laws of the so-called United States. These rights and priorities are embodied within our fundamental principles in both the national general government and the sovereign Republican state governments. The preamble citizen does not depend on any attachments, adjustments, or amendments. We only consciously, properly, and lawfully claim our preamble citizenship, and they becomes the posterior natural-born citizens of the greatest nation on this planet, i.e., America, which belongs to the family of nations. Now, of course, we see, ever since 1933, with the House Joint Resolution 192, we see that Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who ended up sitting in the seat for 12 years, which is far beyond the limitations on which that, the Constitution at that time did not limit, like they did now, 2 sessions or, an 8-year term, for a president. They didn't do that during that time period. After he did his 12 years, that's when they decided to knock that down to only 2 terms. But the thing is that while he was in there for 12 years, he was able to destroy the government in the sense that gold was no longer of substance, was no longer being backed, no longer backed this fiat note, as we now refer to it as this money. Right. Nothing of substance. So with that destruction, what we found out is that based on the House Joint Resolution, when you read it, you'll find out that it's paper for paper now. All right. Right. So the country been bankrupt. All right, and that was the final straw of the bankruptcy, and basically we turned everything over to the Federal Reserve Bank, that was the plan the whole time in that regard.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything you want to build on, Brother L?
Yes. I was talking to a brother about the bankruptcy. He said that he asked me how many times did the United States file for bankruptcy, and he was telling me that 7 times. And he said, I tried to explain to him that I said, well, 7 times, that don't mean that they paid the debt up 7 times. That means they had renewed it they had to renew it. Like the Civil Rights Bill.
Yeah.
They renew the Civil Rights Bill every 25 years. Because the bill, that's what it is, a bill. The same thing with the bankruptcy and the national debt.
And as far as I know, with a bill, somebody had to pay that bitch.
Yeah. Somebody had to pay it.
Somebody. Yeah.
You know, and what I was telling him, I said, no, that doesn't mean that they had the United States had paid them 7 times, and then they had to file bankruptcy again 7 times. No, that's not what that meant. And I tried to explain to him. I said, no, they had to renew that. I said they can never repay it because when they loan, I gave an example. The United States asked the Federal Reserve for maybe $1 billion, so they spend maybe about $1,000 to have them $1 billion printed. But with interest, they charge you with interest. Now, when they but the interest is never printed on those $10 billion or $1 billion, whatever. So how are you going to pay it back? You can't.
And that's the truth of the matter.
Yes. Interest, charge you interest on something they didn't give you in the first place.
Mm.
You know, it's wild.
And China is now the largest owner of our debt.
Yes.
So they the creditor.
Yes.
Or they think they the creditor.
Their day is coming too. That's why you see so many Chinese over here in the universities, and so I've never seen so many Chinese in this country in my life. And they live in the most what they call expensive. I call them expensive neighborhoods in the city. You know, they just come over here. You know, they just come and just live and get privileges and benefits that a lot of us can't get and been over here all our lives. Paid so-called taxes and whatever, you know, served in the military, whatever, you know. But why? Why? Because we keep on telling people that we are colors. So therefore, you know, they come over here, they know who they are. They come over here, and plus, this corporation, I'll say, is in debt to their country. I think you said it. I think about a week ago said there was $17 billion in debt, or maybe more.
Yes,
in China.
Yeah, 70 billion. Right, and which that actually close to 700 billion.
So that's why I had to explain to them. That's why you see so many Chinese over here. That's why you see them coming over here to the universities and colleges and whatnot. You know, hey, you know, come over here. They can get food for cheap or for nothing at all. You know,
right?
Things of that nature. But it's something.
It sure is. And once again, tell me what the Chinese lady told you.
Yes, I talked to one. I went to see my aunt. There was a Chinese nurse in there, and I asked her, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "How you doing?" You know, she asked me my name. I said, "My name is Richard L." And she says, oh, what that mean? I told her it means God pleasantly moving upon the earth. She said, what kind of name is that? I said, it's a Asiatic Moorish name. And she said, oh, okay. And I asked her what her name. I said her name is Lili. And after we got to talking, and I said let me ask you something. I said, what do you, when you sign documents and applications and things like that, what do you put like far as race or nationality? Do you put yellow? And then she frowned. She said, no, I don't put that down there. We don't do that. She said, I know some people call us yellow people, but that's not who we are. The people are not colors. That's what she said. People are not colors.
Well, I think that was enough right there, Brother L. We're going to come back after this commercial break.
All right.
First one on the radio, finally, we are on the air, no doubt. All right. There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. You get on into some of that order consciousness tonight. First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet. There's going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows and more information on Wednesday. Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Now, it's the hottest day of the week.
Proceeding levels in time, order, and importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concept and existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. Circumregulates the ring of our specifics in the rebate on value and natural characteristics. Counter-radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the exchange of thoughts, transitions. Proceeding levels in time, order, and importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concept and existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. Circumregulates the ring of our specifics in the rebate on value and natural characteristics. Counter-radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the exchange of thoughts, transitions.
Magical. Something like this every Wednesday can become. So you need to start getting your calendar right, get your schedule right. You need to know our intention straight out.
All right, so these clues are given throughout the various languages was to piece the puzzle of the ancient history to go back together again.
And what we plan on doing, both of us, is bringing y'all some surefire dynamite. We're going to take this level up a notch. We're going to have stuff to do here. This is not just going to be about philosophy and theory and shit that works.
You have an activated pipe in which have produced this black chemical called melon.
What we did was gave a hard line in the sand between the different definitions of esoteric study and exoteric study. Playtime is over.
All right. So, as Panic said, playtime is over.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get back to the 13th Amendment here of the Constitution of the United States of America. Preamble and Article 1 through 7, which of course is an inferior appendage thereof and does not in any way supersede the de jure government, which is Continental Congress, the Republican form of government, nor does it in anything to do actually with the preamble of the natural born citizens or natural born inhabitants of the Americans. Is an artificial attached and constructed amendment quasi-outlawing slavery or indentured servitude, or does it really do that? Because most people, when they read the 13th Amendment, only recognize that one can be freed into slavery or involuntary servitude for the punishment of a crime. So they can only be forced, into slavery or involuntary servitude for the punishment of a crime. However, one can voluntarily make themselves and their offspring slaves by ways of common law contracts. And actually, beyond common law contracts, commercial contracts in this regard, amorality or maritime, which is actually the birth certificate. And that's what we talked about before.
Right.
You know? So it says that the 13th Amendment sets up the conditions for 14th Amendment citizens and legally and lawfully allow for voluntary subrogation of the 14th Amendment. Right? The 14th Amendment citizenship is predicated on the word of art term subject to the jurisdiction. So you have to, that's why we tell you that you have to state jurisdiction. Your nationality deals with your status and your jurisdiction. The wrong venue is if you're in an amorality court and you're talking about the Constitution. That's the wrong venue. You have to turn the court into a constitutional common law court. And you do that by way of sending in your notice of restricted appearance, stating that you're not a 14th Amendment citizen, that you do not consent to the proceedings, that you're only there under threat or arrest or coercion, which is TDC. If you are kidnapped, criminally, you go to type United States Code 18, it tells you how much for criminal activity as far as kidnapping is amounted to. You can also put that there. You can ask for the delegation of authority by the judge, also by way of the DA, particularly the prosecutor. Because that's actually who you're battling, not the judge. You're battling the prosecutor. Even though sometimes the prosecutor don't say shit, the judge jumps in and act like he's damn rolling on the side of the damn prosecutor, and that ain't just supposed to happen like that. The judge's supposed to be neutral. He's supposed to be like the administrator. He's supposed to be, he's bankrupt. He's a bankrupt administrator. So his whole goal is to get some damn money because that goes on his Form 24. You know what I'm saying? Well, it goes on the prosecutor Form 24. It goes on the judge 801K. All right, which is like the 401K that you get, but the judge got an 801. All right, so it's like a commission that goes to him for how many niggas he puts in jail. And the prosecutor can write off at the end of the year on his Form 24 that you ain't give him no damn money. It was a gift. So he gets, it's just like on 1099 OID in a sense. He gets all that money back. Or he gets all the money, back, at the end of the year, however he does it. All right, so all of these are all based on the fact of them utilizing these bonds, which is the word short for bondage, in which that they end up putting us in, using this 14th Amendment, neither voluntary slavery nor voluntary servitude shall exist within the United States. That's why the 13th Amendment omits that term. They say that voluntary slavery or voluntary servitude for the punishment of a crime. You can be forced into that. Now, what is a crime? A crime based on Sherrod versus Cullins, there must be damaged property and there must be an injured party. If there's no injured party or damaged property, then it's not a crime. Seatbelt violation is not a damn crime. Running through a toll is not a crime. Speeding without harming anyone is not a crime. All right? Bypassing a red light that's just sitting there too damn long and ain't no traffic, that's not a crime. Having no license, no insurance, no registration, those are not crimes. Sorry.
Exactly.
Those are referred to in law as infractions. But it's not a law. It's not a crime. All right, I should say it's not based on an actual law. Those are statute, codes, rules, regulations, ordinances. In other words, if you break a law, which is not a law, it's colorable law. It's what's a better word for colorable law? We would say it's illegal. It deals with legality. But it's not lawful.
Mm-hmm.
They want those things in place because it deals with control over you. And they have control over you, especially now when they go into this police state type of atmosphere. And you don't believe the police state, take your ass to New York and you see that shit. Go to Brooklyn. Go to Harlem. You won't see that shit in the white neighborhoods, but goddamn, you'll see that shit in our neighborhoods.
Exactly.
All right. My mom lived in Queens. I got to find the police now. You won't have to damn do that shit downtown Brooklyn. Them motherfuckers like 2 and 4 to 6 on every damn block. And that's the same way as in Harlem. Mm-hmm. Now, I could have sworn that the fucking bombing took place downtown Manhattan. In the white area. That's where the planes came in at. This shit didn't come in fucking Harlem. Shit didn't come down downtown Brooklyn off of Flatbush.
Mm-hmm.
Over Fulton and Flatbush. It didn't come down there. Ain't no fucking damn towers fell downtown Brooklyn. No damn towers fell in Harlem.
Wow.
All right. So this is what we're talking about. And so they're there in order to build on their capital. They want to institute these goddamn concentration camps, detention centers, / debt prisons, whatever you want to refer to them as. This is what they're gearing up for, working towards. Now, if Obama don't stop them trying to get in Syria and trying to bomb them, talking about they got some damn cyanide or some type of damn gas that they damn spray. Look, we get sprayed on every fucking day over here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Of so-called America. You know what I'm saying? The United, you know, we get sprayed over here every damn day with goddamn chemtrails. You better be worrying about these goddamn chemtrails being sprayed on us over here.
Exactly.
The goddamn mass vaccinations. Instead of damn going and damn truck fucking with damn someone else all the way across the damn water some damn where. Now you know the whole plan is they want to institute that damn pipeline through there, which that they started back in the damn early 90s with George Bush.
Mm-hmm.
All right? That was the whole thing with Kuwait, Iran, Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Afghanistan. You know? All of that. They want all of that. And now Syria. They also wanted Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
All right? They want to start going into Africa, fucking around with Sudan and different other countries over there. Because that's part of the AFRICOM. They want oil. This is what this whole shit is about.
That's all.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. He get ready. They damn trying to get ready to damn gear up World War III. China and damn Russia already told the United States, yo, don't be fucking with Syria. Already told them that. Or say, look, don't mess with them. Matter of fact, the Britons were so scared. They said, fuck it, we ain't messing with you. We ain't we bowing out. They told the United States, nah, we ain't fucking with China and Russia, yo. We bowing out. They told us not to fuck with Syria. We ain't fucking with them. So the United States trying to go in on this shit alone and don't care if they damn trigger World War III doing this shit. This is the reason why people already knew that this shit was coming. This shit was already prophesized by many people when they put Obama in office. They was already talking about the fact that he could be possibly Antichrist, in which that will lead us into World War III.
Yep.
Now you go back and check any of these Europeans. This is all they were saying. And he's getting ready to try to prove them right with this bullshit. I'm sorry if I'm talking about your president, but goddamn, some things in which that might need to be said, son.
Right. We're trying to work with Congress to get that done.
Right, I'm not saying that, I ain't saying that he's the Antichrist, but I am saying that there's some things in which that is going on in which that could lead towards World War III, and we might not need to be doing that shit. All right? So that's my spill for the night. Brother L, you got anything to say before we go?
Yes. Yes, the Obama, yes, he's working hard with Congress, trying to get that passed so they can go over there and make their preemptive strikes, you know. But like you said, Russia and China told them, hey, we going over there messing around, man. You know, hey, you go over there, get on their head, we got to get on yours. And I guess he probably told him, I said, now, you know what, you still over there $17 billion and some. Now, you know, you ain't in no position. Talking about telling us what you going to do.
Right.
So, yeah, but, I was, what you were saying earlier about, it was about, I can't think of it, tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. It was, okay. Well, it was dealing with the Constitution all the way to the 1789. During that period, I wish a lot of people were really listen. I hope that a lot of people really listen in on what was said and what was said by you, what was said by myself about that, dealing with the amendments. After the 10th Amendment, they are no more real amendments. You know, I mean, they are fraudulent. And especially when it comes to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, and the 16th Amendment is supposed to be the so-called tax. Well, there's no money. Where's your taxes? You know, how they tax you where there's no money? The 19th Amendment for women's right to vote. Well, it's a make-believe. It's a curtain to pull over your eyes to keep you from saying that you're a slave.
Right.
So that's all I want to get back at, and hopefully we'll be back here Friday night. So same time, same station.
Let me say this because we got two things to say. I want to read Andrea information she put in the chat room that the Chinese migrated to the United States with the financial backing of their country. First of all, in order to leave the country, they must first deposit in a government-controlled saving account a large sum of money, which acts like a bond to ensure their eventual return to the country. They are then able to get financial backing from their government to help them start businesses once they reach the United States. This helps to ensure their financial independence when they migrate. They can then bring over family members who they can afford to support financially and bankroll new startup businesses for their family members. That is how they do it. All right. Thank you, Andrea. I had to read that from the chat room. And this correlates also to the phrase subject to. All right. If you go to the 14th Amendment, remember it says subject to the jurisdiction. And we said that you have question jurisdiction. When they ask you, do you understand the charges being brought up against you? You say emphatically no. You do not understand the charges because number one, there's no injured party, there's no damaged property. So if that's the case, then there's no crime. So what the fuck I'm doing here? Right. Now the phrase subject to comes from the Latin word servio or servus, meaning to be a slave or to be mortgaged. All right. Once again, the phrase subject to, as we read in the 14th Amendment, comes from the Latin term servio or servus, meaning to be a slave or to be mortgaged. Now, the word mortgage means dead pledge or black pledge. Now, also in the lawyer's Latin, the idiomatic word of art terms subject to the jurisdiction of another means Negro. That's what it means. And this is the reason why if you go to any given day in the damn courtroom, all up and down and throughout the whole goddamn so-called United States, you will see over 95% of people in there the Moors, i.e. black, colored, African American, whatever term you want to use, that's us up in that damn courtroom throughout the whole damn state. All right? Throughout the whole damn union states, I should say. So, you know, and hell, even in the white areas, you know, so-called white or Albion areas, you know, shit, if you coming through, they'll damn do. That's the whole thing about racial profiling is them looking for your ass so they can fund their system, their municipalities, to keep them going.
They can pay for their daughters' college bonds and all that.
Yeah. So even in so-called white areas, you're going to see damn at least 70% of the damn courtroom filled with us. And we don't even damn live in the damn area. Damn, just be searching for your ass. Hoping you come through. Now you think I'm bullshitting? Look up the statistics.
Go to any one of the mock courts.
Read the New Jim Crow by Sister Alexander. All right, go and read Sister what's her name, Michelle Alexander. Her book, The New Jim Crow. Go and read her book. Go and watch Hidden Colors Part 2. All right, so we're gonna leave y'all with that, and we say that we up out of here, Brother L.
All right.
First World Order Radio. Finally, we are on the air. No doubt. All right.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio.
We get on into some of that order consciousness tonight.
First World Order Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m.
We got to talk about what is taking place on the planet.
There's always going to be somebody in the building on First World Order Radio. First, we need to let you know we're going to be doing more shows, giving out more information on Wednesdays. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we are now going to make this the hottest day of the week.
Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the group based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it. Preceding others in time, order, importance. The most prominent parts, voices, or instruments. Earthly state of human concerns in existence. An indefinite multitude, quantity, or distance. System regulates to bring about specifics in the group based on value and natural characteristics. Current radiates electromagnetistics of sound through the air, same as your thoughts transmits it.